Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for another Journaling on a Budget Memory Lane. So today we are going to work on the fashion page in our journal. And so we've got the candy store is the first building, then we have the toy store, and then the fashion store. This one is an old map. Let's look at this one. I moved them around a bit. Okay, it was the candy store, the toy store, the fashion store. So our third layout is going to be for the fashion store. And so the first thing we're going to do is make a pretty little oriental doll. What do you call it? I'll think of it. Yeah. The one that goes all the way across the whole page, up and down. But you're going to need, to make our little oriental doll, a square piece of paper. The bigger the paper, the larger the doll will be, the smaller the smaller. But this one is 8.5 by 8.5. And so what I'm going to do is, we need a triangle, so I'm going to cut it from corner to corner. I'm going to use my cutter to make sure that I get it straight, or at least as straight as possible. Try and line up those corners. You can fold it corner to corner and cut it with your scissors. I always have a hard time cutting on a fold, so I'm going to try it this way. And, okay, it looks like I have 4 good points, so that's good. Get this out of the way. And this is a very easy kimono fold. So there are other ones that really look pretty too that I've made before, but they're a little bit harder, and they're kind of tricky. So you can always go and check that out on what is it, origami kimono, and you'll find lots of different ones. But I want to score this, so I'm going to use this to score. It's not really a scoreboard, but there are indentions every half a mark, or every half an inch. So I'm going to kind of use that to, well, I don't really even need to score it, but I'm going to line it up, and then I'm going to put my ruler on here. And then I'm going to just take my paper and press it up against my ruler so that I have a nice straight line. Because it's so long, if I just try and fold it, it always gets off a little bit. So I'm just going to do that. And this is just a piece of Kool-Aid dyed paper. Kool-Aid dyed paper from the Journaling on a Budget series. So I did that at half an inch. So I'm just going to just press that down well. And then we're going to find the center. We're not going to fold it tight. We're just going to put a pinch at the top so that we know where the center is. So our center is there. And then I'm going to make just a little pencil mark. I had my pencil here literally just a few minutes ago. Here it is. I'm going to make a pencil mark at about a quarter of an inch each side of that center point. So a quarter of an inch that way and a quarter of an inch that way. So that gives us a little half-inch gap there. That's where her neck is going to be. And then I am going to hold my finger on that quarter of an inch, and then I'm going to fold down, and I'm going to kind of line up where these two pieces come together here. I'm going to line that up with the edge, holding here, and then just lining that up. And then we're going to press down that side. So that winds up being right at about 1.25 inches up. So then I'm going to hold the other mark that's over here. I'm going to hold my finger there and fold this one over. And again, I'm going to line up where those two come together with the edge of the bottom part there. Right about there. I'm going to kind of just check and see if that's about 1/4 of an inch, just out of curiosity. And that's 1.5 inches. So I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. And that's still about 1.5 inches. I'm going to kind of turn it around so I can look at it to see if it looks pretty good. It still looks pretty good. So I'm going to just fold it right there. And just over 1 1/4. And just over 1 1/4. So they did wind up even. Alrighty, so we've got it this far. So we folded the top and then we folded them in. And then the next step is to take the side and fold it. You're going to take the side with the long collar part on it. And we're going to take this and fold it right over to that collar point. Now, you can fold it all the way over there, or sometimes I fold it, because that's going to fold this part in half. Sometimes I fold it back a little bit. But I'm going to fold it here first, and then we'll see what it looks like. When you fold it all the way to that collar point, it gives you a different look here, but it also makes it very, very skinny. And then this one is going to fold over to this collar point. So you have to kind of remember that that's going down there, or you can kind of open it up and do that so that you know, like, the angle that you're going on. And then, you know, just tuck it back together like that. And when you do that, then you're going to need to fold this other piece here too. Just like that. But see, that, to me, that makes it very, very skinny. So the way that I usually do it is I kind of fold it in kind of to the center instead. And that way, so I'm just going to kind of unfold it. And I'm going to just kind of fold it on an angle. You want it to start here at an angle. And let's kind of, okay, I'm going to line up that center part up at the top, along with the point at the bottom. And then I'm going to hold that point there. And I'm going to fold this little point here until it meets the center. And go maybe just a touch past, so that when we fold the other one, they just touch each other. Nope, and that's not at the right angle. I want that angle of I want it to start right at the point of that collar. And then come to the center. Like that. Okay. And then again, I'm just going to put my ruler back at that center point and at the point on the bottom. Just so that I know, oh, I don't need to do that because I've already got this one right there in the center. So I'm going to fold it on an angle right from that top point and just make them meet up right there at the bottom, like that. And so that just widens it up just a little bit. So, and then because I don't like that it folds over just a touch right there, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a snip right there. No one will ever know. True origami, you're never supposed to use scissors or glue. I use both sometimes. So there we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Just trim that up a little bit. So that it's not folded over. There we go. And I need to take a little bit more off this side. And you don't have to make it this fiddly. You can just go ahead and leave it be too. Wouldn't hurt a thing. It's not like clothes don't get little folds in them, right? So there we go. So that's it. That's our origami kimono. So, and then I've thought about, and I haven't done it yet, but I thought, I wonder what it would look like if I cut this off, like straight at the bottom and kind of left these hanging down. But I haven't got that brave yet. I don't really want to do that yet. So I'm going to do it the way that they showed it, except not make it so skinny. So now we have our little kimono. And then we need to have a little neck. So we're just going to take a piece of white cardstock. And make it about a ½ inch wide because it has to fit in there. It's definitely bigger than a ½ inch. So we want this to fit right down in our kimono like that. So that looks good. And it doesn't need to be attached way far down, but you want enough to attach the head to. So now I'm just going to open this up and glue that down. I'm going to just use a glue stick. There we go. And then just put it back together. Like that. And then I'm going to make sure that's straight. I'm going to glue down each one of the sleeves. You could just really press those seams really well so that it does not unfold and not put any glue on it. I just want to make sure that it holds. And it's a belly band. That's what I was thinking. We're making a belly band. Okay, so in this series, I do sometimes use things that you may not be able to get your hands on, you know, but you can always improvise. So I have this, which is a piece that I got from my recycle store. And the first time I saw it, the first thing I thought of was, it looks like a hairstyle for a little geisha doll. And so that's what we're going to use on this one. But you don't have to have that. All you can do is just draw a circle and then draw another circle and cut it about, maybe a third of the way or whatever. So that, let me see, like if this was your face, then you would put, your face would be smaller than the whole thing. You would put the face there, and then you would put a ½ circle on top of it to give it the black bangs. If they're the same size, it will fit right together, and the other hair will still come down around the edges. So you can just do it like that. You don't have to have this, but I just really like to make her, and because I can, I do. So what I'm going to do is, because this is where her face is going to go, I am just going to put a little pencil line on here so that I know where to put the face. And then I am going to, let's see, how did I do this last time? I always have to remember how to do it. I'm going to draw around the outside of my circle a little bit, and then just use my circle to finish up the bottom part of that circle. Because if I try and cut her chin part of the face by hand, it's just not good. All right, so I'm just going to cut around here like this. Alrighty. And then I'm going to put her face right there. I left the extra cardstock here so that it has some place for the sticky on this to stick to. So this is going to wind up going just like that. So I need to give her a face. I need to, I'm looking for my pen. because of course I never can have everything right out here and ready. Alrighty, and so then what I'm going to do is, I always like, whenever I do a face, I always do the closed eyes. To me, it looks like comfort. You know, I don't know. I just think that the closed eyes just really look like someone is just serene. So I'm just going to put closed eyes on here. Whoops. Now I'm getting them very thick, which I should not have done. But I'll make the other side match. Closed eyes, a little bit of eyelashes. And some eyelashes over here. And then we just need some little lips. And hopefully one of these markers will work. Okay, kind of. And so I just kind of make like an M a little bit, or kind of like, you know, like when you make the birds, when you're just doing a sky with just like the shoot birds, kind of do it like that. And then just put a smile underneath of it. Just going to make those kind of the same height. And then I just go ahead and color it in. And my pen is not working super great. And then I put just a little bit of a mark going out from the bottom of the M, the top of the smile, and then just go ahead and round that in together with, just kind of join that with the other, with the top and the bottom. And to me, that works out pretty good. And of course, my pen is now going to want to not work. There we go. And I always have problems when I do the mouth, because it's like, oh, that side's a little more bigger than this one. This side's a little more crooked. There we go. Now we have our face. And so then if you had done just the black hair with the bangs, then you could just put a circle on there with the face and then put the bangs right across the top of that circle. Your circle would be here. I'm going to just put this on here like this. And I like the way that looks. And then this is going to go on here like this. And so I'm just going to attach it down. And actually I won't do that right now because I already have one completely done. So, but then yes, you would just attach your hair and attach that to the body. And there you go. You've got your whole geisha girl. So set her aside, and then I just glued her down. Oh, and also put bows in her hair. That's what made me think of it, because I thought these look like two little buns. This part at the top. And so I just put a little bow on each one. And then I glued her down to a piece of cardstock, and we're going to use this for a belly band in our fashion part. So I've also grabbed out some pattern paper, a stencil with a measuring tape on it, a bunch of different fabrics, buttons, and some lace. And tuck this under here. Hopefully you're not moving too much. Okay, so I can't get you. I'm going to turn you a little bit. There. Okay, so I think I'm going to put her here. I thought about putting her on this side, but I really didn't like it against the bluish purple. I really did like it on the peach. So I'm going to just glue her right in there, and there is our belly band. And then we can make a book or something at some point in time to put underneath there, or just make some tags. I don't know why, but I like to put belly bands underneath, or I like to put like little booklets underneath my belly bands. Maybe it's because the belly bands are usually pretty strong, and so they hold a booklet better maybe than a pocket or a tuck, especially better than a tuck, because a booklet a lot of times just wants to come out of a tuck. I'm trying to find some paper towel here. Okay, hopefully this is at the bottom and ready to go. But I just think this is, and you don't have to do this. You can make a belly band with your lace and pattern paper and fabric. I just really like her. And so I've made her a few times because I think she's just so pretty. And I find other countries and stuff very interesting. My husband and I went out to dinner at a, I think it was Indian cuisine. Oh, it was so good. It was just so good. So there we go. Now we have her in there. We'll make a book at some point in time. But I thought that I'm going to keep this under 55 minutes for sure, because the last one I thought was not going to upload. I thought I was going to have to redo the last week's video all over again, which is hard to do once you like attach things into the book. So I think that we'll make a cluster to go on here. And I thought that, I thought a lace pocket would be nice. Sonia always does lace pockets, and they're so pretty. And so I thought that would be really cool. And so I grabbed out this lace is from, it's just from a curtain. And so I thought there might be a, I think I cut off an edge. I did. I cut off the edge because I thought that it would be nice to have the edge there. And so I thought, I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll put this behind it. It has a pretty little flower right there. And so I thought that I would put that flower on it. I was also thinking of using this pink paper, which is not, it's not wide enough to go behind the whole pocket. I wonder if I glue that on there. You know, I think that will still be okay. It'll kind of give it some interest. I think if I glue it on there and then just cut it and glue it along the sides, I think that'll be okay. So I'm going to do that. Let me cut it down a little bit because it's way too big. Hopefully that cut was kind of in a right spot to still have my flower in the middle. Cut this off the bottom. There we go. We can use that for our little paper clip that we're going to do. If we get a chance to do that today. If not, we'll do it next time or the time after. Alrighty, so I want this right on there. So what am I going to do? I am going to, that's the center. So this is the edge. Okay. And this kind of like bows a little bit, but that's okay. And so that is, I'm going to make this one just a little bit too long. I should have made that one a little bit too long also, just so I had a little bit of room to play with it. Okay, so now I know that this is going to be, I'm going to use that whole thing. So I can just put glue on that whole thing and then put my lace on top of it. And then for this one, I am going to use the Fabri-Tac because we are gluing the lace. So a little bit to glue that flap down, and I figured that that's just makes that top part a little bit more sturdy. And hopefully if we get glue all over this whole thing, that the lace and this paper will be stuck together on these edges right here that are on an angle, so that as you're putting something in there, it doesn't get stuck on this paper. So I'm going to really get out to the edge on there to make sure that those edges hold really good. Because there's nothing worse than a pocket that everything gets caught on. But then again, you can just hold on to the pocket, lift it up a little bit to put something in there, but you want to try and definitely avoid that. Or go in later and see if you can get a little glue in that spot where things are getting stuck. Okay, so I've got that. And of course I need a piece of parchment. So I grabbed this one that was drawing in my book. You want to see something cool? Isn't that neat? I believe it's a maple leaf. My husband brought it home for me from work a while ago. And it's been sitting in the book to keep it flat and let it dry out. Now I don't know what I did with the... Here it is. Okay. So I'm going to start at the top. Bring it this way a little bit. I should have cut the lace even a little bit bigger than this, so that you always, you know, you've got room to move things around a bit. There we go. And now this has the Fabri-Tac on it, and it's everywhere, and this is lace, so you can see it. And I do believe that the Fabri-Tac kind of dries shiny. So that is something to think about if you don't want that. I don't mind it. I think that little bit of shine that comes through, especially when you're using lace, you know, it just kind of shines, it kind of glitters, and I think that that looks really kind of nice together. And I'm not even 100% positive if it's the Fabri-Tac I'm thinking of or something else. So I am going to trim this across the bottom, but not, well, up the side, even with the paper. Okay, I think that somehow I just cut off my strings from where I had that tied. I don't even know how I did that. Okay, so this is going to go in our book, and it is a little bit long, so that's awesome, because of the way that this, where they sewed the edge, it kind of pulls it in, and so that I think is going to be just the right size. It is. And so, and this side looks pretty straight. Just straighten it up a little bit right there. So I'm going to cut this one right here. Let's see how that looks on that side. So that looks pretty good. And then just, I think maybe trim this paper just a little bit more. But I'm kind of going on an angle so that I don't really cut off that top piece of trim. And then, so there's that. So on this side, I just barely need to take the paper off and then take it straight to the top. And there we go. So that looks pretty good. That is not in the fold, but it's pretty close. I need to take a little bit more of this pink off here so that it doesn't wind up in the fold. That's sometimes one of the worst problems that you'll have with the journal is something winds up in that fold and everything kind of binds and doesn't want to move very easily. So just kind of make sure that you keep things trimmed back just a touch, and things will be much easier. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. And I think that it's going to overlap over here just a little bit. And that's okay. Then I will turn the page over and trim that off. And that leaves this a little bit away from that fold. Okay. So I'm going to glue it all the way to I'm going to glue the lace and the paper. No, excuse me. I could have folded the lace over the paper and made the whole pocket on an angle, but I didn't want to do that. I liked the way it looked. Plus the fact if I did that, that would make for a very, well, I guess if I just glued the edge of the paper, it wouldn't have made it any smaller, but I was thinking that it would make the gap to put your tag in only this big. But if I folded it over, okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to fold that over. I believe that I've got glue on here. I'm going to put a little bit more glue on here. And a little bit more glue on here. Give it a good press. Yeah, because I was thinking if I put glue all the way around, I would only have a little place for a tag, which would still be okay, except I would want to glue it all the way down so that if you put something in here, it didn't get off to the side and get stuck and lost in there. Yeah, that's cute. And now I only have glue here, so that will be open across the whole top. So this whole bit will be open. And I like that. That's kind of cute. Okay, and then put the top back on the Fabri-Tac. So I thought that we would make a cluster for here, and we still have time to do that. So we're going to take this one off, and I'm going to make this cluster more round. So I'm going to just kind of take a little bit of this extra paper off because I'm going to make the cluster approximately this big. And she's got a little purple belt on, so that purple might be nice. Now remember that this part of the paper clip is going to be on the other side. It's not going to show. So it's okay that it shows here. It's not going to show once you put it on your book. And I had one of these little doilies, which I thought was really cute. It's tea-dyed. I wasn't super happy with the tea-dyed part, but maybe, I think I want some lace in there. Yeah, definitely. I want some lace on top of that purple to kind of tone it back a little bit. So I'm going to do maybe a few bits and pieces of it. I don't know that I'll use all of these, but just kind of. Okay, so let's see, what do we have here? Kind of like the longer ones. No, I like the solid part on the purple more than hanging off the edge, this part. And let the lighter pieces be off the edge. What about here? And I have to remember that this purple part is my tag, or my clip, because I keep thinking about covering that over there, and I don't have to. There, I like that. And then that on the top, with maybe even another piece of just the really lacy part, the holy part. On there with a button. And then what color button? Pink. This page is blue. What about blue? I almost think I kind of like blue, but not that one. And not that one. Kind of thinking maybe a medium-sized blue, and in light colors, easier to look in here. Set this over here. Ooh, what about that one? That one's got a vintage kind of feel to it. That one matches much nicer. And then what about, that's red. I don't want red, I want pink. A little pink one on top of it. I think that's kind of cute. I think that's kind of cute. And then we'll tie some string around there too. So to start with, how am I going to put it together? I'm going to put it together with thread, and I'm going to use black thread. Why? Because it's right here. Now, if I thought, sorry, I'm talking with a needle in my mouth. If I thought that it would look terrible, I would not use it. But being that she's got the very stark black hair, I actually think that this black on the buttons would look really good. Now, I would have used white if I had thought about it ahead of time, so I'm really glad that I didn't think about it. And that's, you know, sometimes you have to stop and think. You know, if you say, oh, man, I don't have any white thread at all, and so I can't do this because I want to do it in white. Think about it, you know. I mean, you never know, you know, how things are going to turn out. A hard time with buttons, guys, so this is going to take me a minute. You just got to kind of, you know, give it a chance. And at first when I looked over to see what kind of thread I had, I went, ooh, all I have is black. And then when I thought about it for a second, it was like, oh, black might really look good. Plus it just gives us another bit of contrasting color to this paper clip or fabric cluster, because you don't have to turn it into a paper clip. You could just sew it together and glue it on your project. I think I may not be going through the right holes. Maybe I am. But it's sitting close to the bottom, and I'm not sure why. Okay, so I need a couple more, because to me that may not be strong enough, even though it's really not holding anything. I'll just do this last one. There. And see, that really does look good black. And this got bunched up, and I could feel it getting bunched up. That's okay with me. because that just kind of gives it a little bit more depth, because this was really flat. So when that happened, I was actually thinking, ooh, that's good. Okay, so there, tied a knot in it. And that's going to get glued on there. I'm going to kind of glue it on an angle like that so part of it sticks up over the top of the book. And I thought that, I was thinking I had some string right here. Well, I guess not. So I may come back later and tie a little bit of string under the button and on top of that bit of lace and just kind of leave it messy, because I think that that would also look cute. Oh, here's what I was thinking of. This is just a bit of baker's twine. This came from the Dollar Tree. And I think that's probably enough. Remember that you can always, a lot of these things you can make your own. I buy string and I just dye it with paint or dye it with some other kind of dyes. I'm going to give it one knot tie like that. And then I'm just going to kind of hold it out here and wrap it around a couple of times. And just kind of hold it out here. I'm not holding it any place specific. I'm just holding it so that it keeps a little loop out there. And then I'm just wrapping it around. It's kind of catching the lace and pulling the lace up a bit here, which is also good. And we'll do one more over here. And there we go. Now I can tap a little glue under there just to hold it. That's pretty tight, all on its own. And we've got this little bit sticking down, which I'm going to leave that like that. And kind of wanted, I was going to leave that piece sticking up, but now to me, this looks more like the top. So I don't like, oh, that's a string. I don't like how flat that is, so I'm going to put an angle on this part so that it kind of sticks up. Yeah, I like that. Alrighty, so this is going to get glued right on there, and that paper clip will be done on both sides. And so see, we didn't do both sides right away. We didn't have to. I want to make sure that I get a good amount of glue on here, but I do not want to get the glue squishing out onto the other paper. Otherwise, it will glue our paper clip shut, because our page is going to slide between these two pieces of paper. And I'm going to round this corner before I... There we go. Put that back where it belongs. And that's our top. I'm going to look at the other side to see how it looks. I think I'm going to bring it down a little bit. I'm going to have to be careful because now I got glue on it. And like I said, you're not going to see them at the same time anyways. I have to keep reminding myself of that. Okay, now whenever I do something like this, I usually take a piece of parchment and a piece of cardstock and put it up in there so that it doesn't get glued together. So I'm going to take this, fold it over here. Okay, and then we're just going to go in here I don't know if you can really see this, but okay, so see, there's our piece of paper. So that is the part that slides onto your journal. There's a piece of paper on each side with something on top of it. So there we go, and that's what it's going to look like. On the other side, it will look like this, and then when you turn the page, it's going to look like that, and it's going to go right there. So I think that that's awesome, and I think that we are going to, I'm going to take this and I'm going to do this, just so we can see it on there. There. I think we're going to call it quits right here because I don't think I have enough time to do anything else. But like I said, we have I have a stencil here, and I have some pattern paper. This is a really nice dark old one. Plus it's got the instructions which has like really cool little bits. So maybe next time we will make a couple of tags to go in here. Oh, I need to make sure that I didn't glue those down also, because I did right there. Good thing I just did that, or it would have been solidly glued by the time I came back. So there we go. So we're going to have some tags in here that we're going to make with some of these things. We'll make a book for this, and whether we do that exactly next time or in a few times, because I like to kind of switch back and forth between all the different bits, but we'll see. But that's what we're going to do to this still. So it's not completely done, but I do like how it's coming along, and I love, love, love that. The paper clip. It's one of those days where the words are not coming to me real well. So, and then we have our bottom pocket, and then we have our little oriental doll as a belly band. So I think that this layout's looking really good so far. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.